Hello, it's Carrie Bradford, and today I'm going to show you a couple little tricks on using the storyboard templates, um, particularly with the Storyboard 6 template because there's a couple of unique templates in this kit, but I'm also going to show you a little trick that you can use on any of the storyboard templates that I've had come out recently that have the included frames that you can choose from. So as you can see, I have, the one from the Storyboard 6 kit up, and you can see all my different layers over here. And then I can choose if I'd like to use a rounded or a straight frame. Just with the click of a button, it turns it on or turns it off. And if I want the straight, I could turn that one on or off. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the rounded frame. And then I am going to add a stroke to this to make it actually a thicker frame. So you can just do that by choosing your FX button, and I'm going to click on stroke, and then as you can see over here, you would just click on stroke, make sure that it's got a little check mark, and currently the stroke on, oops, I'm on the wrong layer, so let's go to the rounded one. Okay, now I'll choose the FX button. Okay, silly me. Alright, now as you can see, it's added a little bit of a stroke that's black around the frame. If I come over here to color, click on it, and I'm just going to go up into this very far upper left corner and click OK. And then up here I can change the point size of my stroke. So if you see, if I do like a 43 stroke, it kind of gets rid of the rounded corners, but look at the uniqueness of the frame that you're getting now. If I put it down to maybe somewhere around 6, well, let's do a little bit thicker, maybe like an 8, you can see it puts more space between the photos, but yet still kind of retains that rounded corner. So that's just kind of a fun little tip that if you're not stuck with the frame as it is, just by simply adding a stroke, it will actually change the look and feel of what you've got going on, and so it kind of just gives you extra variety, which, it's really kind of fun. So if I click OK, it maintains those changes, and then you can see in my layers palette that it actually has that effect. And if I decide I didn't want it, I can click on the effect and throw it away in the trash can. So, you have some choices there. So that's the first tip, just, how you can modify your frame and add that uniqueness to it. Let's move over to, there are two templates. There's this one and this one. And if you look at them, you can see how they each have their own, there's like a separate little popped up frame. When you open your document, when you open your storyboard, it looks like this. I kind of went ahead, this is outside of the norm of what I usually do with these templates, which is turn off the frames. But I felt it was important to turn on the frames just so that you could see what exactly it is that's going on with these two particular templates. So you could have a plain, you could have it with your straight frame, or you could have it with a rounded corner frame. But additionally, there are these frames here that you can turn on and off. And by turning it off, and if I click over here, this is the frame for photo number 9, you can see that the frame goes away. And if you click on this one, the frame for number 3 goes away. It's actually just an extra frame so that you can add a shadow to it to make it pop up off the page. So normally when the frames come in, they're just as they are. There's nothing else to it. Yeah, you can add a drop shadow to them if you'd like, but if you see, if I turn it off, it comes on and off. It's all one piece. And I can add a shadow to this by going to my, by clicking on the frame, going to my FX button and adding a drop shadow, and you can see it adds a shadow. But if you look closely, if I just go ahead and click OK, if you look closely, you can't tell that there's any sort of definition between any of those popped up frames. However, if I turn on, see, I'm going to come over here and turn on the frame for photo 3, which is what we're looking at, and click on the eye, you can see now that there's actual definition between that photo's frame and the frame below it. So it just kind of gives it that extra pop to pull up off the page. So you can have some fun with this. And even if you wanted to turn off the frame behind it, I'm going to come over here to my layers palette and click on frame straight and turn that off, and you can see, you can single out these 3 individual ones. If I click on the frame for photo 7 and photo 9, it kind of adds, again, another flavor to the template to kind of gives it just a fun twist. This particular kit was kind of about having a little bit of a different fun. So that kind of shows you, you basically got your layers, and then you're going to have your 2 frame styles, the rounded and the straight. So if you want, I could click on rounded and you can see what kind of an effect it has on it. So that kind of, is mixing the 2 styles there together. And then if I wanted to turn off, the frame shadows, that's basically what it's doing, is it's shadowing those additional frames. I can turn them on and turn them off and just kind of get whatever kind of look I want. So that's just, like I say, a fun and unique twist. Now let me show you the other one. This one's a little different in that the layers aren't necessarily going in order because of the way these layers in the center with the frames work with the layer of the straight frame behind it. They kind of get mixed up a little bit. But if you look at your layers palette and just go by what it's telling you, so you see here I have frame straight, whereas on most templates when I do the frame straight, it's always at the top. But this one's in the middle because of what we have going on here. Every layer, you got to think of it like a sandwich. If you've got your meat on the bottom, your lettuce, and then your tomato, if you move your tomato to the bottom, you're not going to see as much of it. And so because these are layered and overlapping, you got to make sure that everything's going in the right order. So that's why you'll see the 2 main frames that I use kind of in the middle. But if I go over here, oops, not the photo. You can see that there are the individual frames for those 4 center photos. So I have the frame for photo 7, frame for photo 4, and if I turn it off, you can see how it loses that dimension and that extra thickness that was there. So you can see it turns it on and off. And the same with the photo 5. It turns it on and off. Okay, so here's where it kind of gets a little bit tricky. If you want to just use the template without the little popped up windows, you want to turn off the frame. If you notice, I'm looking frame for photo 6, frame for photo 5, frame for photo 4, and frame for photo 7. I've turned those off. However, you can see I don't necessarily have the entire frame. Again, because of the way the layers are working with the different components of this particular template. It doesn't necessarily happen on the other one, but because this is all layered in a certain order, you'll want to take that, come over here to your frame straight, and you can click on it and drag it and move it to the top. And then you can see it's all got its individual photos. So that's how that works. And again, you can just have fun with it. You can move your layers around, but in this particular kit, you don't want to move too many layers because then you start losing the overlapping effect that's there. But it's there to have some fun. Again, if I wanted to change it to the rounded, I could click over here on the rounded and I'd just move it up to the top and turn on the eye for that one and turn off the eye for the rounded one. And you can see it mixes because these are unique. You've got, again, the mix of the rounded with the straight frames. So there you have it. Just some fun little tricks you can do with the storyboard templates, and thanks for stopping by.